Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another Marine ECM, this time working in a Marine Power 5.7 liters coming from Idaho. I think it's Idaho. Let me just make sure I'm saying this correct. Yeah, Idaho. Blake Luthi, this is your computer, and let me take you over to his folder so you can read with me what his notes are. That we can start. So the reason of the video is going to be a test, then see if we can repair the computer, and then a test after the repairs. I have multiple videos and a playlist for the MEFI force if you want to see how the internals and connections and even some of the voltages, because I have in some of the videos where I put like a full video, I put all the values internally in the computer with resistance and voltages and everything that I have gathered through the years, which I should have not done, but I did. All right, so let me take you over to the folder. This is everything ready except it's not connected yet, right? So we will see that in a second. All right, so this is, again, a picture. I like to collect data for future reference and anything. So Blake called me in 2 years, Mike, do you remember what part number was my computer? Somebody just took it out of my boat and we don't know which one is mine. Okay, I have it. Not a problem. All right, so this is that. The next is the actual paper, which I removed his phone and email and correct address, but you can see in there. So this is a MEFI 4B. It throws codes, was told it was unrepairable by OBD Diagnostics. So Bob from OBD Diagnostics deemed this computer not repairable. He has done like, I don't know, maybe 600 computers, and I probably have repaired 599. It's unbelievable. He does, I tell this to everybody, he does not repair computers. He does software. So when he tells you that your computer is not repairable, please don't take it as granted, because it's not. He will just try to put software. If he cannot fix it with software, the computer is bad, you need to replace it. And I have repaired, like I said, numerous of that computer that he has deemed not repairable. So please send it to me. And I have spoke to him, and I tell Bob, you can do calibrations. That's all you do. But don't tell people that computer is not repairable just because you cannot do so, because that is not truth. And I have proven that it's not truth. And he was upset by that, but I said, like, dude, if I'm lying, please correct me. But if I'm telling you the truth in your face, it's the truth. And we'll see how it goes in this one, because I told them, for you that know me, you know that I'm very transparent. I have no issues showing everything. And that's why I'm recording these videos. And I told this to Blake, if I open your computer and it's burned, no charge. Can it be repaired 100% of the times? No, that would be a lie from my end. No, I said, it's an 80 to 20% of repair. That 20% is because some of the components on these computers are not replaceable. They're made out of crystal. Nobody sells them, and it will need a special machine that I don't think nobody has, probably not even Volvo or Delphi longer for these computers. And that's just a guess. But right, so let's, what else I have? Oh, this is the email that he sent me. Obviously, I erased his email. He said, I saw your Facebook post. OBD2 in California said that the circuit that controls my throttle body, thermostat, and map sensor was toast, and it is non-repairable. Could you fix mine? I already don't want to spend $3,500 on one. And it's probably what he told the price of that computer is, which he's the only one that probably has some of them still. All right, so let's go back to the test. Or let's go over to the test, right? I'm going to put Diacom. We need to connect the computer, so let me connect the computer here. And let's power up here. I have a test light here. If this comes on, the fuel pump is supposed to do a 2-second prime when you energize the computer. Let's see if that happens. Well, it does. But it's staying on. That is very... Okay, well, it finally went off. Let's see if we can talk to this computer. It looks like we have communication. And this computer has 589 hours. Let me select those bits so you can see it. And let me put those images on the screen, right? So the bottom one is the oscilloscope where we'll see if we have any signals. Let's see what we have here. And on the upper section, we have the diagnostics. Let's see what we have. So we got 8 trouble codes. The computer has almost 600 hours. So show you right here the number of trouble codes, 8 trouble codes. Calibration is a EE91. So let me write that down and start to take the time to do it here. Just going to write it in a piece of paper so I can write it later onto his folder. It's a EE91 and it has 589 hours. All right. I will definitely save the report, which I can always revisit to that. So we have coolant sensor, throttle position sensor, manifold temperature sensor, manifold pressure sensor, cam signal fault, throttle actuator control tach malfunction, tach fault, no tach reply, tach fault, no tracking. Like this is a computer that has a throttle actuator module. The computer is not in control of the throttle body. So when he told you that is bad in the computer, not true. The throttle position, it is connected to, because this has a throttle position sensor, and but the actuator is not in control. The computer sends a signal to see the position of the TCP. That's what they call those signals. But for the rest, it's a tach module that you might want to actually see. Let me show you one. For those of you that don't know what a throttle actuator throttle actuator control module is, this is one. This is specifically for your boat, but I have it, obviously it's brand new. I have it in here for my own test when I need to test the complete system with the throttle body and everything. All right, but let's see what we have here, and let's see if this computer runs or not. So we definitely have faults, no doubt about that. The throttle position is shown as 0, and this is going to be a little hard to do now because, again, the throttle position comes from the tach. So I will be able to run this computer just so much because, again, that signal should come from the tach module. Because I can show you that I have throttle sensor voltage. You see, I'm changing the throttle sensor voltage, but the throttle position will not change until that sensor or this module that I just showed you reports back to the computer. And we can see that this computer indeed has a tach module right here. You see TAC module present on. So this computer needs that module. And I don't have it connected, but that is okay. So let's see what we have here first. As far as running, let me erase the faults. And we only have now 3 fault codes: throttle actuator control malfunction, throttle actuator no reply and not tracking because it's not connected. What else I have to see here? One thing that I don't like in here is I can see the fiber reference here, but no sensor ground. So this is very important because we might definitely have a problem on inside of the computer, but let's see if it runs, which is very important now to understand if this computer runs or not. All right, let's get some RPM. And I have, let me put the RPMs in here. I need to adjust because it's very low now. I'm going to go over to like 600 RPMs. I have the blue channel is injector signal, and the red channel is the coil, which is actually working pretty good. So yeah, we have no sensor ground. That is definitely an internal damage in the computer, but the computer this is a very promising computer. I don't I don't really think this is going to be a non-repairable computer, honestly, just by looking at what I'm seeing here. We got two injectors. The coil is firing good. I'm going to move over to the other injector so we can see both injectors drivers. And you can see that injection is looking pretty nice. No multiple triggering of the injectors, which is usually when I have a bad computer. That's what I see in a lot, multi-triggers. But this is actually, we got fuel pump. So wow, this is how much you can see how much that guy or any other company can repair these modules. I am the only one in the world probably right now that can repair MEFI 3s and MEFI 4s, period. MEFI 1, 2, 3, and 4s. That's it. It's no other company. The rest are just trying to copy or mimic, but they don't know what they're doing. I know I have to take the time to really analyze and decipher, reverse engineer everything on this computer, so I know exactly when something can or not be fixed. So what I want to do now, like I said, this is a very promising computer. What I want to do is open it up and see exactly what I see inside. As far as the throttle, this is going to be the TAC module, Blake, and this is very common on these computers. I would recommend you to replace the short harness that is in between the TAC module and the computer to the throttle control arm. There's a throttle sensor in there. Very important to replace that, and it comes with a sensor. All right, so but let me stop the video. I'm going to open the computer and see what I see. I'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm sorry, the microphone is very far away. I opened the computer just to show you that this is, again, Blake's. Nothing really obvious that the naked eye can pick, so I'm definitely going to have to analyze and go with a microscope into everything. I was expecting to see maybe broken pins, because sometimes on this MEFI 4B, and this is not the case on this one, when they put this crystal gel they had here, they didn't let it dry properly and then put them on sideways, and usually sometimes that gel comes and it accumulates into one end and it can rip this little jumper wire that goes from the board over to the pins on the connector, right, for the terminals. But it's not the case in here. So again, let me analyze it and I'll be right back. Hey guys, I think I got very good news for Blake. I'm just finishing connecting everything back because I got removed, you know, these to work in my bench. So let me just connect everything back as far as the oscilloscope goes. Put this down here. And we didn't have any issues with the signals, but you know, after a repair, like always, to double check everything, make sure that all signals are still present and everything is good. Let me power this up. And I need to power the computer up. All right, one thing that I want to show you guys, look at that green light right there. That is, now we have all the circuit completed for the sensor ground. This computer is fixed 100%. I don't really need to run it, because realistically, you saw the computer run even without that, because it's in a simulation, right? So I don't really need, not even the 5-volt reference, not even the sensor grounds. All I need is the signals to enter the computer to run. And that is how I test, you know, injectors and coils and so on. But I analyze 100% everything when a computer is here. And that is definitely Blake. And guys, this is 100% repair. All right, let me connect back to the computer. And we should have the same fault codes as far as the throttle actuator, because again, it's not connected and that doesn't burn the computer at all. All the problem that we have in this computer, Blake, was there. So make sure, very important, right? Because something did burn this circuit. Not the 5-volt reference, which is good, because when the 5-volt reference gets damaged, I can actually take down the computer to a no repair. But this is a short to power on the sensor ground. So something injected power to the computer on there and it burned the circuitry. So I did have to replace components inside, but that I have all in here. So this is one of the less, less prone to be a non-repairable computer due to that. But you need to correct it in the boat, because otherwise, if you connect this back, it will burn. So what you need to do is go over to connector J2 pin 3. Let me just show you the harness in here. 1 second. Not the harness, the actual connections. Let me get 5 more reference. I'm just looking myself before I put you into here. Now, let me actually get you into here. Let me take this out. And we are in here. So let me just find it. And this is, this is a picture, so no problem. So we got the grounds for the computer, which are these ones that were good. We have a 5-volt reference. Let me see if I find the sensor. Oh, most likely maybe here. J23. Let me see if I find it. It's got to be right here. Right here. Sensor ground 5-volt return. And this is for all the sensors. So yes, you will lose your manifold air pressure, your throttle position, and so on. So that's why we got all those faults in there. Why? Because if it's no 5-volt reference, the sensor cannot work. But at the same time, if you don't have a sensor ground, then you will not have readings on the sensors, because the sensor is a 3 wires, right? So most of the sensors are 3 wires, except for the thermistors like coolant temperature, intake temperature, and so on, that are usually either a 1 wire or 2 wires. And the reason they can be 2 wires, if they're not using the ground on the block and their computer is providing the ground for the sensor to, to be pulled to ground. And that's the only ones that are usually two wire. But the rest of the sensors are 3 wire. They're going to have a ground, a power, which is usually 5-volt reference, and then the sensor signal, which is what the computer is waiting to read to compensate or adjust the ejection, the spark, and so on, right? So that's what we need. So J23, you need to, before you plug this computer, Blake, you need to put, like with ignition on, no computer connected, you want to make sure that you are going to use your multimeter. Let me get you here. So you're going to use your multimeter in continuity tests. You're going to put one lead to the battery positive and the other lead into that sensor ground. If that, well, actually, we cannot do that with the ignition on or the battery connected. So let me rephrase that, because since this is a short to power, if you will use the multimeter with continuity tests and the wires have a voltage in it, what these multimeter use is they send a voltage through the wire to see if the voltage returns on where you have the other lead, right? So I'm going to put my lead here and my lead in there, and if this wire is the same, then the multimeter should beep, right? That's what a continuity test that. But what the meter is doing is sending voltage through this wire on the way through that wire or whatever you're testing, and then expect to receive the same or less voltage, right? Because and then it's a dropped voltage drop, but then it all depends if it beep or not, right? But if we have voltage already in that wire, it will not beep. So what we need to do is actually disconnect the battery, and we're going to go again to the battery positive on the battery, but disconnected on the wire, right? We're going to go into the positive cable, unplugged from the battery, and we're going to touch that sensor ground J23 on the connector, which is going to be the same connectors that we have here. You can actually, those are round pins, so that's nice because a pin, a terminal like this for your multimeter will fit nicely in there. Make sure that you're not going to spread open the terminal. Otherwise, go from the back or try to not to be gentle. But what you want to do, and this is when it comes a little hard to do if you don't have alligators, I would recommend to you to use an alligator clip right onto the one end of your multimeter. Grab that battery positive cable, right? And then I'm going to do it the same way in here. You can see what I'm going to do. Now let me move you over to this capture. So I'm going to just pick up any wire while I have the power on. So let me turn this off. I'm going to go into, let me get this out of my hands, into this wire, and I'm just going to gently put that pin in there. Let me make sure I put my glasses on. And I'm just going to rest it in there. So J23. Let me find actually J23 here. J23 should be this wire in here. And you see, it fits perfect. These type of needle probes, they usually come with the multimeters. They fit perfectly and they don't spread open the terminal. So what am I going to do next? Okay, well, I'm going to, using that alligator, I'm going to put my multimeter in continuity, check your meter before, right? So make sure it's beeping. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put the meter in here so you can see the same test that I'm doing. It says a magnet on the back. Yeah, you see what it says oil. See, if I touch this wire here, you're going to see what is reading resistance, and it's also beeping, but maybe my microphone is removing that. So by me having that wire onto the positive, if it beeps, it's definitely a dead short. So you need to start going into the harness and find out that short, but it might not beep, and that doesn't mean it's good. So now what you need to do is carefully going into corners or where wire ties or clamps are holding your engine harness and wiggle the harness until you can not see any problems, because heat and vibration are enemies of wiring harness. So by me keeping the meter in there, right, if I'm moving the harness and all of a sudden I hear a beep, there is a short. So I have to go slowly into those areas. I'm going to poke the harness, move it, try to not be aggressive, because if you move too much, you might move too much of the wiring and you might move it away and you will never find it. But this definitely has a short. So you definitely have, or a short sensor, right? Because that's the other option that could potentially have taken this. But I honestly have never seen a sensor shorted taking the ground circuit this way. So this, for me, honestly, in my experience, I think this is a short to power directly on the harness, and it burned the computer. But it's repaired. So I want just to give you all these hints, because I don't want Blake to connect this computer and then blow it again. I'm going to do the test, and I'm showing you how this computer is now running and is fully communicating. And now we have what we didn't have before. Let me plug this wire back again. And let me get you into here. I'm going to even get a closer look into that area, so we don't need to see the computer no more. Sorry, guys. All right, what I want you to see is right here is my sensor ground right in this bottom part of the computer, or of the simulator. You see, as soon as I turn the ignition, we have already sensor ground that was not there before, and everything is good. So I'm going to put the Pico and the Diacom. I'm going to reconnect Diacom so we can read the values. All right, so I am connected, and I'm going to put one sum into the engine RPMs as I had before. And let's run it. Make sure that we don't lose the ground circuit. What's happening here? Something is happening. Now we have no injection. Did I unplug something? Did I spoke too soon? Because I now have eyeball reference. Let me make sure. Well, we have communication, and it's reading RPMs. Let me turn this back off. Make sure I didn't unplug that. Oh, I know what it is, guys. Look, you see? I don't have my tool connected. So that is very important. We have power through here on the bottom, but not the main power, which is for this tool to actually operate. All right, now we have the power. So I'm like, what's going on? Oh, now I like it. You see, I'm like, oh, did I spoke too soon? But no, everything is good. So this is just to show that this is Blake's computer. And let's raise the idle up to 600. Again, disregard the cuts of signals until I get into 600 RPMs. But yeah, this is now beautiful. Look at that sensor ground and fiber reference. Everything is working 100%. This computer, since it has a TAC module and throttle body, an electronic throttle body, it uses no idle control valve. The same throttle will control the amount of air is entering the engine, and that's how this system works. And Blake, you can rest easy because your computer is actually in very good shape. Please do that test that I'm recommending you because my warranty covers no burn components. So if you burn this again, it might not be repairable because this can take just so much. It looks really in good shape, the computer. So I would not expect to really happen, but I don't want you to burn it. I want you to do the test. Make sure you find the problem because this was a direct short in the sensor ground with power, battery voltage, not a fiber reference. Fiber reference will not damage that wire. This has to be battery voltage shorted into the sensor ground. I have to be very strong and to repeat the same thing because this needs to be addressed. But your computer, Blake, is 100% working, 100% repair. And this is a proof, again, that what I'm saying, or what I was saying on the beginning of the video about that company in California, which I don't like to even keep mentioning because I don't want to give, any commercial to him because he's not being honest with his customers. Like if somebody send me a computer for repairs and I see that it's a software problem, but I cannot do software, I will tell my customer completely honest. It's like, dude, this is and I did before when I couldn't do calibrations for MEFI trees. I used to say, you know what, this is a code 51 ECM calibration problem, and I cannot do calibrations. You need to send that to that guy. Even I refer customers of mine to him. But he is so proud. As a person that is so proud that he cannot refer anybody. Like he got the guts to call me one day when I started doing the videos and told me, like, you should not be doing what you're doing because you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, really? Like, well, sure. Like he doesn't even know me. He didn't even know me. He got the guts to call me and tell me to stop doing what I'm doing. A person that doesn't even know what he's doing. Realistically, as far as repairing computers, he might be good in calibrations and tuning because I think he has a dyno or something like that. And I respect him on that part 100% because I don't know what he does. But repairing computers, you have no idea what you're doing. He doesn't even repair computers. So be honest with your customers. Be honest with your person because you know what? It's not fair to just tell the person you need to spend $4,000 because this computer is not repairable, just to find out, like Blake is doing now, that it is indeed repairable. Unbelievable. That gets me, hot because you know what? I understand how important is money, not just because of the money, it's because money is seconds of your life that you transfer for those dollars, for whatever coin that you have. You work hard for that unless you're a millionaire. But if you're a millionaire, he would not be, just gave me 20 of those modules, right? But he's not a millionaire. So all working people like we are, we really work hard for our money. So I cannot just take for granted, you know what? I'm going to charge this guy $3,000 and fool her around. And I don't care if that computer is repairable or not. He's just going to pay me because of my reputation. That's not fair. Not fair, not fair, and not fair. And I keep insisting on this because you know what? I think it's necessary. It's necessary that you just be honest. You know your limitations. Tell your customers the truth. Like I said before, sometimes I say, to customers, they send me a computer, Mike, it is happening in the boat. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I cannot reproduce it. If I cannot reproduce your concerns in here, how can I fix it? So I'm sorry, but I will say this computer is good. Deem it as good because I cannot reproduce your concern. I record a video. I cannot be more crystal, more transparent with you if I show you that. If it is a problem in the computer that I cannot reproduce in here, I cannot fix it. Same thing as you. If you're sending me the computer because you think it's a computer and you finally find that it was a harness or something else, then that's the limitations. And even having the complete vehicle can be hard to repair, right? So I I don't lie. I just don't say, oh, this computer is perfect. No, I tell the customer, and I'm very careful with my words. I tested your computers. I cannot reproduce your concerns. For me, this computer is working properly. That's all I can say. Right? And I'm being transparent and honest. All right, guys. Thank you so much for visiting the channel. If you have a marine ECM that you need for repairs, an automotive module, My Salazar Diagnostics is your best company. I'm transparent. I'm honest. If you send a module here, you will be taken care of. Like, I guarantee you, I really believe, I go to sleep and I feel nothing in my back. You know, I feel peaceful because you know what? I do my best always. Am I perfect? No, but I try my best. And you can count on that 100%. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.